And just 2 weeks ago, the NDC launched its campaign for election 2024. It's been one campaign that has been happening, but they formally did so in the northern regional capital, Tamale. Tonight, I'm going to have a conversation with the national chairman of the NDC as they wage this campaign to recapture power, something they lost in 2016. He's going to sit down with me for a conversation. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot happening already on the political front that we'll talk about. I'm pretty sure you've heard something very interesting happening at the Appointments Committee yesterday, and it comes down to the Supreme Court nominees that the president had put forth for consideration of Parliament. We'll ask his thoughts about that. The party tells us, as far as the members in Parliament concerned, this is a part of the plot to pack the bench. And the party is in full support of what the MPs are doing in the House. We'll ask his thoughts on that. We'll also obviously ask his thoughts about, you know what has happened in the Ashanti region. The MPP decided to go to the Ashanti region to choose their running mate there. But as we've always told you here on your election headquarters, the NDC cannot really win if they don't do well in the Ashanti region. They always want to do well. They have a target for the Ashanti region. But how will they achieve the target, considering that, as we've heard, the MPP also says they want to get 85% from the Ashanti region. Ashanti region is going to be a key ground, a key battleground for both parties. We'll ask his thoughts on that too. And then we'll talk to me, obviously, about the issues around prosecution of this, government appointees. If they win, he's on record to have said that there will be prosecutions, and it's not a threat, it is a promise. So really, what is it that the NDC knows that maybe some of us do not know that is informing them? Anytime they go on a platform, John Mama said it today, that we can be certain that we'll have individuals prosecuted, including, I've heard the Attorney General mentioned in that too. We'll ask his thoughts about that whole conversation. And why is the NDC, as has been alleged, running away from a presidential debate? The IEA put out a statement that they're going to hold this. The NDC wrote back very strongly that they should back off. Don't use our name to promote any program that we haven't signed on to. So really, why is the NDC not interested in a presidential debate? Our actual thoughts as the national chairman, what's the thinking of the party around that? We'll talk to him about that. And then we'll also talk to him about the securing northern regions generally and winning elections. They've launched the campaign. How is it going? We'll ask his thoughts on that. But there's an economy factor also here. This year's elections, many know, will be fought around the issues around the economy. So what is the NDC's alternative to the economic challenges that we currently face? His thoughts on that too. And then, as you know, the party itself will be launching this manifesto pretty soon. Yesterday, we got a sense of that when we spoke to the party after they had launched their youth manifesto. There are many things in there that I am curious to get his thoughts about, but also to ask him the fundamental questions, how they plan to fund everything else that they've told us. All that here on PM Express with Asiedu Nketia. Stay with me. And thank you for staying with us here on PM Express. It's always brought to you by Syntex Tanks. It is strong, it is tough. And no matter your water needs, Syntex Tanks has it all. Syntex Tanks is the first to introduce a double layer tank. And now you can have as many layers as you want. You can find them across the country. And they also come bespoke. They have 7 years warranty. Call them on 0244 335 168 or shop online at syntexgh.com. My guest joining me in the studio for a conversation is Asiedu Nketia. He's a national chairman of the NDC. Mr. Asiedu Nketia, thank you again for joining us on PM Express.
You're welcome, my brother.
Great to have you. A few weeks ago, 2 weeks to be precise, you were in the northern regional capital launching your campaign for election 2024. Since then, how has it been? How's the campaign been? Is it going according to plan?
Sure. After the launch, I took a short break. So I'm back now fully. And as our campaign has been designed, it will be led by three-pronged campaign teams. One will be led by His Excellency, our flag bearer, and then another one by the running mate, and I'll be leading the third one. The two of them will be focusing on the presidential campaign, and I will be focusing on the parliamentary campaign.
That is interesting. Why is that?
Well, it's a multi-system. So I needed to, prepare so that, you know, as I approach my campaigns, when I start, I don't stop till election day. So the two of them have started already. I intend to start on Monday. From Monday to December 5th, it will be a continuous
So you took,
battle.
it was a calm before the storm for you. You took a break before you came into the war.
Sure.
Okay, so that's why we had not seen you
Prepare myself, yes.
Prepare. So well rested then? Are you well rested?
Very well.
Ready to go?
Ready to battle.
But I'm interested, has this always been, you've done this for so long, longer than I've been alive, has it always been a strategy where somebody's in charge of the parliamentary campaign, like you are now?
No, no. Every new election is an election of a sort, so we decided to structure the campaign this way.
Okay.
So that the time remaining is not much. And so we need to, if you like, stretch ourselves so that each one will be handling one aspect of the campaign at any point in time. So that's why you don't see me following President Mahama in Volta region and in the Upper East region.
Because I'm going to ask you, you've been missing from the campaign. I've heard John Mahama a lot. Meanwhile, the general himself, of course the chairman, is nowhere to be found.
In the past, the leadership of the party in the past have adopted some philosophy of campaigning that you need to see wherever your flag bearer is, you need to see all his generals around him for people to know that he's enjoying the support of everybody. We have decided under my leadership that it will be better for efficient campaign resources use for us to avoid long convoys carrying 50, 60 people to a function where only about 5 people will speak, all the rest are following, sleeping in hotels, eating, burning fuel, and all that. We think that if we spread out so that as one person, one figurehead is handling the campaign in one region, another one will be in another region, the third one will be in the third region, so that at any point in time, we will be covering 3 regions at the same time. We think that that makes for better use of campaign resources.
Your parliamentary candidates, including your sitting members of parliament, are already formidable. They will be campaigning in your constituencies anyway. Why do they need Johnson Asiedu Nketia? You
know, I have been a parliamentary candidate and a member of parliament before. For every constituency, every member of parliament has his areas of strength and areas of weaknesses. So when you get to areas of weakness, you may need a third party from somewhere to, you know, go and intercede for you. And so, you know, the presidential campaign always focuses on regional capitals, rallies at regional capitals, and so on. My approach will be a retail type of campaign. So when you enter the constituency, you find out, before you even go, you know from previous records which areas of the constituency constitute the particular candidate or MP's strongholds, which areas does he have problems, and so on. So you know where to focus and get to where the voters are, and then tailor specific messages for specific people in any particular zone. That delivers the constituency better than the presidential campaign, which focuses on just the constituency capital in a big rally, and then everybody disperses. And it makes for more efficient use because there are places when you go and there's a message that, well, the national chairman is coming to this area. The fact that no senior person of any political party has visited that area itself serves as an attraction for people to come around. So you don't spend money conveying people for big rallies. But once you enter there with your campaign music, the people gather and then you deliver your message. That is a more efficient use of.
So you'll be in
resources.
275, well, 276. We are hoping that will become the
as much as possible. Of
constituency.
course, we will be focusing more on areas where we have challenges. You know, there are areas where whether anybody helps or not, we are likely to deliver the constituency. There are other areas where no matter what you do, we don't have a big chance of winning that constituency. And yet there are battlegrounds where we lost marginally and where we won marginally. I think those areas are going to be my principal areas of focus.
The bigger target is to win the presidential elections.
Yes.
But you must certainly have, now that you are going to be the boss of the parliamentary campaign, your target for parliament. The last time you tried, it was a hung parliament. I know the NDC disputes that. But what's the target this time?
We want to have a solid majority in parliament so that our president can prosecute his agenda.
In other words, you obviously, when you say solid, are you crossing a particular threshold in terms of number, or you simply want?
See, because there are always majority of ministers coming from parliament, at least until the constitution is amended. So if you have a comfortable majority, then you are looking at a situation where even when you have 10 or 15 members of parliament who happen to be ministers, engage elsewhere, maybe outside the country or in very difficult assignments elsewhere across the country, you still would have some majority to work with in parliament.
So at least how many seats? If you don't win at all, how many seats you want to win?
I've given you the parameters of what we are looking at. I'm not going to talk about specific figures.
Talking about the campaign itself, beyond parliament, the national campaign, it's a campaign between MPP and NDC. One of you, we know, will win elections.
And Akwiadonko, why are you not mentioning?
Well, I mean, it's Akwiadonko would be happy that you're putting her in the frame.
Akwiadonko, Alan is there, and
you don't seriously believe that any of them could pose a threat.
This is my nephew. What do you call the young guy?
Yeah, Cheddar.
Cheddar, you know, Cheddar is from my place.
He's from Bono.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Did not know that. But since you raised that, let me ask you: do you sincerely believe that any of them can become a kingmaker in the process this year? Get enough votes or collectively that can push this into runoff?
Well, I believe strongly that NDC is going to win hands down.
So you're not anticipating runoff?
I don't anticipate a runoff.
Let me put history before you, and because you are such an experienced hand, you may have thought about this. This is the 8th year. In 2000, when there was Rawlings finishes 8th year, we had a runoff. 2008, similar, we had a runoff. Many said we were due for a runoff in 2016, but of course, you have some element that we didn't anticipate, which is John Mahama becoming the president after the unexpired term of Professor Mills. And so some dynamics there changed. Many look at this year's election. For the first time since 2000, we have one president serving a full 8 year. And say that if you look at that history, you're very likely to have a runoff, that we are due for one. What do you say to that?
I don't think so. We are looking at a one-touch victory. All the instances you have mentioned, it has a lot to do with the performance of the sitting president as well. So it's not just a straightforward thing that whenever there is a change of party, there is a runoff. It's not like that. It depends more on the performance of the sitting president, how well he has performed or otherwise. So we think that we are working for a one-touch victory.
It sounds to me you're banking on the performance or lack of this party, of the current government.
Well, the lack of performance certainly will feature in the campaigning, but that alone is not the issue. The strength of our message of giving hope to a hopeless situation will also impact on the campaign. But I think that all put together, we are likely to have one-touch election victory this year.
What will be the biggest determinant, though? The performance of this government or its lack of, or your own strength?
Well, each of them has its own contribution. If you want to rely on just the performance of government, that alone cannot take you there. If you want to, if the sitting government has performed so creditably, then it impacts on your messaging too. So it's always the two sides put together that will deliver the victory. And we believe that the two sides favor us. So we are likely to get a one.
And talking about favor, what about the performance of this government that gives you that confidence?
I guess you have to ask yourself. Ask about your own conditions in 2016 compared to the current situation. Nobody will answer that question for you. I don't think it lies in the mouth of NDC alone to tell any Ghanaian that we are far worse off as a country now as compared to what used to be the situation. And, the jury is out. It is not something that we are going to argue about at all. And so, having said that, our caution to our party faithfuls is that now all the indications are that this government has failed. But the failure of that government alone cannot put us into power. So let us now bring a better, stronger message and sell it properly to the electorate. Make sure that when they deliver their intentions through voting, we are able to protect their votes till we are declared winners. So that's what we are.
On that, in April, you warned about complacency. Since that, have you seen the things that you saw that made you warn that publicly? You took it publicly, and Asiedu Nketia would not do anything because it came by mistake. It was very deliberate.
Yes.
That you chose that platform on national television to issue that warning.
Yes.
Since then, have you seen anything that says people have listened to you and those who may have been complacent then that triggered that comment have changed?
Sure. I've been listened to very much, and people have been, prompted to act, and I'm happy about the actions that I'm seeing. Our youth wing has risen up, and they are very vibrant on the campaign scene. All our former appointees and others, they've come on board the campaign, and each of them is doing what it takes for us to win the elections. Because the message still stands that it is not over until it is over. Let us go win the elections first before we sit down to discuss whatever will follow.
You've used the word win elections. Brian Champon, the Agric Minister, just last weekend told you in very clear terms that they will win elections at all costs through whatever means.
You know what? I don't waste my time on that type of loose talk. So let's focus on what it takes to win the elections. Once we have won the election, let anybody come out to say that, well, you have won, but we are not handing over. Interestingly, I heard this for the first time from another person who was also a champion. That was Kutu Achampon's staff. You see, it was union government and all that they won't hand over, they don't want multi-party elections. He had to hand over in ways that he didn't anticipate. And then the next person came, who was Katechi Afrifa. He actually bragged that he was holding Ghana like an egg. And that if you joke, he would drop the egg and we are all gone. Where is Afrifa now? He died and the egg survived. So when people are bragging, I don't just divert my attention to follow that type of bragging. It's an unnecessary distraction from the campaign effort. So I think that let them say what they want to say and let us do what we want to do. And I believe strongly that at the end of the day, we will win the elections and he will hand over peacefully.
There's a lot of peacefully, and that's what's coming to. A lot of talk since that about the need for both parties to tone down. The Peace Council is in the midst. In fact, the Catholic Bishops' Conference said there have been attempts to try and get both parties to sit at the table and make commitments that reduces the tension. What do you make of that, to get both of you, the parties, at a very high level, at your level, to come to the table and pour water on what is turning to be a very boiling situation?
You see, more than a year ago, I came out to say that it takes certain ingredients to create a violent election. And so when the ingredients are being prepared, that is the point where people should intervene. Otherwise, if you allow an explosive situation to develop, and you are now calling us to sign declarations and so on, declarations by themselves don't change any situation on the battlefield. You know, with this Ajapadia expose, some of the things that we had been complaining in the past before the 2020 elections, it has come to pass that our positions have all been vindicated. They were deliberately planned to rig the election. And when they were starting, we told them that this one, we should fight against it. Do you know that the Supreme Court ruling that birth certificates cannot be used for registration? Mm-hmm. It is right there in the Ajapadia document that the MPP conducted a survey and they realized that unless they cancel out the birth certificate as a document for registration, breeder document for registration, they are likely to lose the elections. And so they did everything, including influencing the Supreme Court, to give that absurd ruling.
But you don't have any evidence?
No, it's in their book. They have written it, and it is there. It's been vindicated.
It is an allegation that they, to influence the Supreme Court.
It's not an allegation. They have said it, and it has come to happen. It has passed. So what else? The person said, this is what I'm going to do. At the end of the day, it was done, and he got the results he wanted.
But this is a book that nobody has owned up to it. Nobody knows who authored it.
But everything in there...
Party says it's fiction.
But everything in there is happening. Who wrote the Bible?
Well, the Bible, because I'm a Christian, it's the inspiration of God.
You don't have an author for the Bible. Why do you want an author for Ajapadia document? The Bible is believed because everything in there is happening. So if you have another document and everything in there is happening, why do you waste your time contesting the authorship when you are not contesting the authorship of the Bible?
But the Supreme Court won. It was simply maybe because they made a stronger argument that convinced the court.
They have written it there before going to implement it, that unless they are able to block people from registering by cancelling out the use of birth certificate, the MPP is going to run into problems in the 2020 elections. And so they worked and made sure that Supreme Court did that ruling. The ruling came, we didn't use it, and they won the election. So what other proof do you need? But
you know the Ajapadia document. The first time I saw it was in 2015, 2016. If indeed...
Which of the versions?
Well, that's the point. That's the point. That's the point about its authenticity.
No.
If there are many versions, I don't know.
There are two versions. The latest one that is being discussed, it is stated in there that the first phase, we implemented this, and this is what we are going to continue. So the current one that everybody has is the second document. The first document is there, and the very things they promised to do, they've done it, as a playbook.
Last week, the president himself spoke about this publicly for the first time. And he was very categorical that his opponents, and I believe the NDC is in that bracket too, that you have concocted this to just tarnish his reputation.
Then we are magicians. Then that is what should convince Ghanaians that they should give us power to rule. Because if we are able to concoct this story and put it there, and then compel our opponents who are in government to implement everything that we have concocted, then who are the better rulers of this country? Shouldn't it be us? And I hear stories like somebody saying that it was written by Professor Nana. In fact, if that book was written by Professor Nana, then she doesn't even deserve a running mate. She has to be the flag bearer. Because it will take a very super intelligent person to be able to prepare such a document, as you are saying, 2015 and whatever, and all the things that have been stated in that document have all been implemented by our opponents up to.
When you say all, that is an exaggeration, isn't it?
Well, practically all. It cannot be 100%, because they themselves, in reviewing the document, they themselves have considered that there are certain areas they try to implement, they run into problems, like the capture of the power sector. The PDS run into problems because of ABC, you know, and many, many of them. So my brother, don't let us waste precious time in arguing whether the document is authentic or not.
Because
it's clearly authentic. And I don't think
you are in a political arena.
If you want any proof, that proof should lie in the mouth of Nana Akufo-Addo or the Ochehene at all.
Why? You've also heard Ochehene also speak about this, but why don't you lie in your mouths?
Because why do we have courts? Because people having committed an act will always want to deny. That is why there is court. And so you don't expect that if this thing had been written by you know, a family within the Achima Buakwa, to which the Ochehene belongs, and then they've been caught pants down, you don't expect them to just come out and own out that, oh, yes, we have done it.
But you're not saying that they altered it. You're not saying that they altered it.
It is their book. Whether they altered it or got somebody to alter it, it is what they are implementing.
The fact that what some of the things that have been said in there had transpired doesn't mean that the NDC, the MPP, altered it.
I am saying that the authorship doesn't matter. What matters is that there is an agenda to capture the state and use the state resources to further private interests. And all the things that the roadmap has been followed practically perfectly up to this stage. And so that is why you have this state capture. I'm sure you read the session about the media and how they intended to capture the media. I was expecting your name, I didn't find it. I was disappointed. But they mentioned some of your people who have been compromised to do their job. The names are there, black and white.
But these are individuals who may know nothing about what's happening. Their names have just been thrown in there.
Oh, that is they are playing to the book. The individuals who have been named, just look at the work they are doing. And there is no argument at all about it. So it's written there, they want to capture the judiciary. They have captured it up to this stage. Even as of this week, they were still pushing to capture it more, to implement more of the things that they have stated.
Is that why, and you say you're leading your parliamentary campaign, is that why we've seen your members of parliament yesterday fighting to block the confirmation of those two Supreme Court nominees?
Yes, but who would not do that? When you have stated that I want to capture the judiciary, and this is what I'm going to use the judiciary for, then if I have the power to stop you from capturing the judiciary, I should sit there and fold my hands. You can't be fought.
But here's the thing, Asiedu Nketia. Even your MPs, when you speak to them, they say the individuals who have been nominated are competent people. And that just because of a perception or something you've read,
it's not a perception.
You're fighting
the appointing authority says that we are putting our people there so they can jail these people, and we are putting them there so that they can protect us when we are.
But the appointing authority said that. Which appointing authority?
It is in that playbook, and we have seen the judges being appointed according to that playbook. So why should we sit?
So the Japade document said it, but you're directly putting in the mouth of the appointing authority, which is the precedent.
But the Japade document says that we, when they say we, it means that the president and their family.
And the president has denied that categorically.
Oh, it's not about what you deny. It's about the facts that are on the ground. You see, everything they have said there has played out. So I am at times, I find it difficult to understand people who still argue that the document is not authentic, is not genuine, because no author has written their name there means that it doesn't have an author. If it doesn't have an author, and the thing is being implemented, so are you not entitled to believe that it is true?
On that last point of the judges, I mentioned one of the things that we'll talk about is that these two judges aren't the only ones that have faced opposition from you. In fact, beyond that, those already on the bench, you've raised many issues about, including the Chief Justice herself.
And
what about that?
Ajapade book has vindicated us because it tells you that this is what we are going to do. We are going to pack the courts with our favorites.
But I mean, are you saying that all this opposition is all because of the Ajapade to the courts and the judiciary?
No, even those days when we hadn't seen the Ajapade book, it was obvious what they were trying to do. But now the Ajapade book has come to confirm everything, every suspicion that we had about the packing of courts. So should we sit down and allow the court to be packed further, even after we have been won? My grandfather always refers to some account projects, a proverb that gorilla always prays to God that God should expose his enemy for him to see. But he's not asking God to fight his enemy for him. God, let me see my enemy, I'll fight him myself. So we are lucky God has shown us the intentions of people, those people who are in power. And then you sit there and you don't fight and you allow the things that have been planned against you to happen. Then we are not helping the country.
This is the same court, the appeals court, to be very specific, that just last 2 weeks acquitted and discharged your minority leader. How do you square that circle? The same judiciary that you attack of being packed.
It depends.
The same appeals court.
Each case has its own specifications and whatever. I don't want to, fall into this line of argument that if somebody has been slapping you 10 times when he doesn't need to slap you, when he decides that I'm reducing the slap to 9, then you have to go and congratulate the person. You don't have to go and congratulate that person because he doesn't have any reason to slap you in
by the same judiciary that you
and
are.
I'm saying that if the judiciary has been biased on 15 occasions, and on one occasion they speak the truth, so they must be congratulated. So everything they have done in the past is whitewashed. I mean, that type of argument doesn't happen.
But what have they done?
Because we think that we have been complaining persistently about their judgment, and some of the judgments too. It's not us alone. Like this citizenship thing that we fought and fought and fought and fought and fought, only for a Ajapade document to come and vindicate us and expose that indeed it is true, it was an MPP agenda to make sure people don't register so they can win elections. So it has vindicated what we were saying in the past. You understand? So, and you have several of them. Ayawa's West Wogon. We were supposed to have held the election within 60 days. Some way, somehow, the university was on recess. NPP wanted the university students to come back. So the Electoral Commission then fixes the date beyond 70 days. We went to court to challenge it. The court never ruled until the election was over. So what type of system are we running? So if we now stumble on a document which says that these appointments are made for this purpose, are we not entitled to believe it?
Well, if you win the
election... We are entitled to believe it. You may decide not to believe it. That's your problem. But I believe that.
If you win the election, this is the same judiciary that you would have to work with. What do you do if this is what you believe?
We haven't come there yet. When we reach there, but every problem has its solution. When we get there, we get to the bridge, we'll cross it.
But you're campaigning to win elections. And yes. It's possible you might win. This judiciary is not going anywhere.
Yes.
What would you do?
I'm saying that let us win the election first.
But you don't have a plan to what you do, the judiciary?
Let us win the election first. You don't share the meat before you go for hunting.
Suffice to say you have a plan.
Let us win the elections.
You were making a substantive point before we digress into this area about what do you do with the overtures to you and to the MPP to sit for peace. You started by talking about, yes, you're admitting you're coming to you to sign declarations. Then you're just recounting the evidence in the past. Are you at the point yet where you're ready to sign a declaration?
The declaration don't mean anything to us.
A peace declaration? It doesn't mean anything to you?
It doesn't mean anything to us because all previous declarations have not been adhered to, and those declarations have not solved any problem. If you allow violence to be brewed, you have violence, whether you sign declaration or not. And so that is why, for more than a year ago, I started talking about the need for us to remove the building blocks for violent elections. So at any stage, when something is happening, I call on those who in future will call us to sign declarations to speak up so that we stop this particular thing from happening. Otherwise, if you allow all those things to build up, and you say that, let us go and play peace football match, let us sign declaration, let us do this with the hope that we will get a peaceful election. Peaceful election will not happen. Because we did all this in 2020. All this and more in 2020. Council of State, Peace Council, everybody was involved, signing declarations left, right, center. The 2020 election turned out to be the most violent elections in the whole of the Fourth Republic.
So this year, not signing.
So it tells you that signing or no signing is not the issue. What we have to talk about is the building blocks that will create the violence. We have come out to talk about the illegal recruitment of some 10,000 persons into the security services. It is brewing now. Peace Council should talk about it. It's a public discourse. Let's hear them. Let's hear the Catholic Bishops' Conference or whoever wants us to sign document in future. If we sit there and allow this government to just select party members, 10,000 of them, train them and deploy them on election day to if you like, maintain peace at polling stations. What will declaration do to avert what is likely to happen there? So now they have the list of 10,000 people that have been shortlisted. It is on the desk of the Interior Minister. And he's trying to find a way of making sure that these people get recruited into the security services. Our MPs challenge them. Look, at some point, the Interior Minister himself now went to Parliament to try to, if you like, bribe our MPs. That look, bring 2 from your constituency and let's add them so that you allow me to do it. And they have rejected it flatly.
He did this openly? Or
he did this to our MPs in Parliament. So I went there, they told me, and I said, don't give one person to them, because you add one person and they recruit 10,000.
You described it as a bribe. Was this something that he said on the floor, or was meeting privately?
He called them privately and offered the leadership. And we said that they shouldn't. And any NDC person who fall for that, you make sure that you have challenges in your constituency. Because what is wrong is wrong. If there is opportunity for recruitment into the security services, let it go through proper procedure so that everybody, the purpose of democracy is that everybody, every citizen must have equality of opportunities. So if there are opportunities for recruitment, let it go through the proper procedure and let every Ghanaian who qualifies get the same opportunity to be recruited. We are all for it because it constitutes job for the youth and other things. We are not against it. But to classify MPP people are the only youth in the country who deserve to be recruited in the security services. And you've written letters to your parliamentary candidates to select a certain number of party people and submit to Interior Minister for recruitment. It will not happen. I mean, and that is why that matter has been, there's a petition at Shrad. And in spite of the petition, they are now going ahead to advertise and pretend that they are doing the right thing and then come and use the same names.
Yeah, you categorically said they are party foot soldiers, yes, but there isn't any evidence that they 10,000
there are letters that have been written to party candidates. And you know what is interesting is that even the MPs in the MPP who lost their primaries, they are not being asked to bring their names. They have written the letter to the new candidates to bring names. So,
I mean, last week we spoke to one of the candidates on this, David Sopoku, to be very specific, when this matter came out. He categorically denied, he's an incumbent member of Parliament, that he'd been giving any allocation.
We have published at least some of the letters, and we have attached all this in to Shraj. You understand? So there is no denial of that fact at all. And we are saying that if they believe in rule of law, they better withdraw those adverts and wait for Siraj to do a determination.
You make an allegation about the Interior Minister meeting your own MPs.
Yes, yes.
When did this happen?
Oh, it happened, I think I met our MPs before I traveled, but it happened before then. And I heard about it.
So this would have happened before Parliament went on recess?
Yeah, sure.
So this must be in the last month or two?
Yes. He was trying to bait them that, look, if you accept 2, bring 2, then we add to the list, then we can push this in. And we say, no way. Go and advertise the thing properly. And let every Ghanaian get the opportunity to be recruited.
Asiedu Nketia is the national chairman of the NDC, is my guest. I'm going to take a quick break. When I return, we'll ask him, why is the NDC running away from a presidential debate? Stay with me. And you're still live on PM Express. My guest is Asiedu Nketia. He's the national chairman of the NDC, and we'll be talking about their campaign to recapture power. Mr. Nketia, I'm grateful that you stay with us, but I need to ask you why your party is running away from holding a presidential debate.
It is a completely worthless exercise. So we don't think that it will serve any purpose at all. And we will not waste our time on debating Dr. Baumia or Napo or anybody. Because you see, if you have watched me throughout my political life, there are two people I don't debate. There are some people you will hear, they will be making noise about me, some could be insulting me and so on. I say, I will not engage them in a debate. The reason, my guiding principles are two. Don't debate an idiot and don't debate a liar. So any of these two who tempts me for any debate, I ignore them.
You're not calling by this the presidential candidate of the governing New Patriotic Party an idiot and a liar.
No, I'm not saying the two must fit one person, but when you look at the two categorization, you see that he's a liar. That one is something nobody can contest. I'm not too sure whether he's an idiot, but at least I'm sure he's a liar. So, in my capacity as the national chairman, I have made it very, very clear to our flag bearer that we are not going to engage in a debate with a liar.
And John Mahama agrees with you?
He does. You know, John Mahama is somebody who is a media person. He enjoys debate. But at least when this point was raised and we deliberated upon it, they accepted our position that we are not going to debate a liar.
So this is a considered position. This is not something that you are just...
No, it's not just from me. It's a proposal we made and we sat on it and agreed that we are not going to debate a liar because it has been said by ancient sages that never debate a liar because they believe in their lies. And so you can't win a debate against a liar. So don't waste your time going into it. They are not, because here is somebody who says something, anything that comes to the head, he will say it, argue it out, knowing very well that what he's saying cannot be implemented. But he goes ahead to say it. When we said that we are not going to engage in the debate, after that, listen to the things he has been saying, that he's going to give mobile phones to every Ghanaian youth.
But that is his political promise.
You pay 1 CD or 2 CDs. Is this the type of things you are going to engage
but that is something he believes he can do. What is a lie about that?
So he is assuming that all of us are fools.
But what is impossible about that?
Because, listen, he says you are going to pay 1 CD or 2 CDs per month. Calculate how long it will take to pay for one mobile phone. When you are born today and you buy the mobile phone, you will grow up and die when you haven't finished paying payment. Is that the type of person you are going to debate seriously?
But if what
I mean, these are the things we don't. No.
So stay on the same platform and then expose him.
No, I'm saying that it's a waste of time. Don't waste time, because all the things he has said in the past, 80% of them have not happened. It tells you that he either assumes that Ghanaians are not intelligent, so you can just tell us anything and get away with it.
Yeah, but Asiedu Nketia,
we are not going to be part of
You've been in this, you've been political life.
Again.
Even the John Mahama has also made promises in the past and never panned out.
No, this is clear.
So it's fair to call him a liar too?
Clear case of lying, when you know very well that what I'm saying cannot be implemented. You remember that he asked how many questions did he ask Mensah? Is it 170 or something?
Yeah.
Questions. If you are an examiner and you set questions, don't you have a marking scheme? When he claimed Mensah didn't answer those questions, has he brought out his marking scheme? Let him tell us that this question number 1, this is the answer. Question number 2, this is the answer. That is sufficient debate for him. No, he should go and debate his own records. What he has said in the past. But let him debate it.
The issue that you raised applies to John Mahama too. He's made promises in the past. He talked about investing in the North. We've talked about it. Recently I heard him talk about it. The SADA initiative that never materialized. Does that make him a liar?
No, that is not what I'm talking about at all. That is not what I'm talking about. When Bawumia came, didn't he say that he has been, he's here because of the economy? And his flag bearer also said that, Nanadu doesn't know anything about economy. That's why he has gone to look for Bawumia, who was responsible for stabilizing the economy during President Kufuor's term. So he picked him from Bank of Ghana to make him a running mate. So he is coming to deal with the economy. Now Bawumia is telling us that he has nothing to do with the economy, and that he was just a mere driver's mate. Why do you waste your time going to debate such a person? When you said, I have come to fix the economy, then some days later you say that it's not about doing it and not succeeding.
But if that's
but you come and say that,
then it's an easy task for you.
That is not my work at all. It is somebody's work. I mean, is it the person worth debating? Please, if you have some other thing for us to talk about, let's proceed. But if it is about this debate and debating with Bawumia, we have a principled position that we are not going to allow our flag bearer to debate a liar.
But flag bearer debated Nana Addo. The flag bearer, he debated Nana Addo. At that time, you were okay with that. So what has changed?
The person there has changed.
So you're now endorsing Nana Addo. The man you criticized back then, you say he's better than.
Oh, in terms of credibility, I rate Nana Addo higher than Bawumia, honestly, in all honesty. In all honesty, both are bad, but one is worse. In terms of credibility, I rate Nana Addo higher than Bawumia, honestly. As for Bawumia, he has allowed himself to be used as a tool. And so he has messed up his credibility, his total credibility. Even a P1 child, if you want to get you ask who is a liar, you ask 10 people, at least 5 of them will mention Bawumia's name. They will mention his name. And it is not a good thing for him, as if he has intentionally created this thing for himself. It's not good. And so we are saying that let him carry his baggage. If you have a pig in mud, don't go and be fighting that pig. It will draw you into the mud, and the two of you will mess yourself up. And when somebody is coming out, he will know who is the pig and who is the human being. So don't go in. Allow him to swim in his own mud.
That's Asiedu Nketia.
They are not going to be.
He's the national chairman of the NDC. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.